Yeah, hello and welcome to my today's review of the so-called H056 version 2 monitor. To be precise, this is the second generation of this monitor series. There was also a first generation made out of plastic and with a telelight here, sometimes also rebranded with a sticker over the telelight. For example, the Roku rigs rebranded this model, the first generation. But I highly recommend to get the second one because here you get a full metal chassis, also at the back, not only partly full metal. So it's way more rugged. And the second point is, the telelight, I think 90% of the people are not using the telelight. And also very important are the software features, because the first generation had a few issues with the software. And because I don't know if these issues are now fixed with the plastic models, I also highly recommend this second generation. And because it's only priced a few bucks higher, I think it's not that of a problem to get this model here. Okay, before I show you all the points more in detail, as always, I want to mention the structure. First, I want to show you the hardware and the accessories, which are lying here on the left. And within the second part, I want to show you the software features a little bit more in detail, which are quite nice. And at this point, before I start, I also can tell you already that this is one of the few screens I can recommend at the price point around 200 to 250 bucks. For example, I got this one for 220 euros, including that, here locally from a Great Britain dealer. So very affordable. I think, at least I think it's quite affordable. But let's get started with the first part. As you can see, and as I already told you, it's a full metal monitor, which is really nice because the coating is, I think, a powder coating, which is very rugged and which feels very nice. It's also very nice and easy to clean compared to the Lilliput 663 I also reviewed, by the way, within my channel. Yeah, there the coating was like sandpaper, and cleaning was a mess. Here, absolutely not any problem. According to the screen, it's a very nice native 720p compatible 1280 by 800 screen. Okay, it's at 16:10 screen, so you have black bars at the top and at the bottom. But if you don't want the black bars, you can also stretch the image to the full size. Very nice is also the quality of the panel, although it's not comparable, and I definitely can say this already, it's not comparable with a very expensive IPS screen model, because I think it's a normal standard TN panel with 6-bit. And so, it's quite of a standard panel, but very nice for its price point. You can also see here the buttons. We have here the power button, which is not that important because it's only switching the LCD screen on and off, and not the complete unit, because there is no hardware switch at the back. It's always draining your battery, so be aware of this. It's nice if you need to switch off your screen, or if you want to switch off your screen or your panel very often, because the monitor is always running, and you get your picture within a second or so if you're pressing here. But if you really want to switch off the screen completely, don't forget to plug the battery, or to plug the DC cable, or to use an external switch or build external switch for this screen. We also have here the left menu right button, so for the menu control, and here is also the exit button for menu control. This button, not monitor, is also for the 5D mode, so for the fixed 480p mode, if you have a Canon body which is outputting 480p while recording, so you don't need to wait for the signal to be recognized always. Only important for Canon users. Here is also the focus feature, which is no peaking, no classical peaking, because with the classical peaking, the peaking looks for the edges, for the high contrast edges, and you get a highlight red or yellow, blue, whatever peaking. But the problem is that with low contrast areas, such peakings are not working. And by the way, I also can tell you that the standard peaking of Lilliput, for example, or not even the Marshall peaking, they are not working very good in everyday situations, because you really only see the high contrast areas. And if you think that you will see it in a face or so, or on cloths which are not that contrasty, it's not the case. And here very nice is that with this included focus button or focus assist feature, you get an over sharpening filter, which is normally only available with higher priced cameras. And so you really get an over-sharpened image where you definitely see very easy where your focus plane is actually. And so you also don't need high contrast areas, and this is really, really worth a lot, believe me. And you will see this within the second part, by the way. Here, let's get to the next button. You have the aspect ratio switch, 4:3, 16:9, and auto. The auto mode is the full screen stretching mode, and yeah, the nice point is if you select your aspect ratio once, it's saving it. So you if you are plugging the battery and it's switched off for weeks, it's still at the same setting. Also, according all the other settings, they are saved, which is quite nice. Here we also have the fun button, which is short for function button. You can freely assign. I can tell you already, I normally assign here the 1:1 pixel mode, because the 1:1 pixel mode is really working like a charm here. And even, for example, and I can tell you already this here, even if you plug in this monitor to a computer and you're outputting a 720p signal and you use this 1:1 pixel mode, you're getting an even clearer image. And you get an image comparable to a computer monitor. And this is really, really unique, because especially with cheaper screens, you normally don't get such 1:1 pixel outputs that easy, like compared to this one here. But let's continue with the source button. You also have the option to switch in between the HDMI input and the composite input, AV input, with the BMPCC connectors at the back. There is no SDI, so don't be confused about recording the BMPCC connectors. And you can also switch, and this is also quite nice, maybe usable for the one or other person out there. You can also switch to the media player, which is able to play media files from an external USB device. Maybe it's nice if you're on the go and if you want to watch a movie or so while traveling. Yeah, also quite nice feature, and it's nice that it's included. Okay, let's get to the sides. As you can see here, we have here a mounting point here and here. Yeah, here. But these points are normally used for the sunshade, so they are only usable with articulating arms if you're not using the sunshade. But yeah, if you build something on your own, for example with Velcro or so, they are accessible still, and so you can also use these here as mounting points. At the bottom there's also a mounting point. This is only the QR plate, by the way, of my GorillaPod focus for this review, and so I can, yeah, so it's standing. So this is not included, but here is also a mounting point, by the way. But let's get to the side again. Here is the 3.5 headphone jack, which is also not perfectly positioned because it's not accessible as soon as you're using the sunshade. But okay, I'm not using headphones that often with external monitors. And also very nice, and so you also don't need, or it's not a must-have to have access to this headphone jack. Here is also a speaker included. Also not that widespread with cheaper monitors. Here we have USB port, which you can use to mount the included cable. I got the wrong one because I got a micro to standard USB cable. But normally you can plug in here this adapter, and you can use USB sticks, any memory you have to play media from it. Also quite nice, and I think it's also for the software updates for the manufacturer. Here we have the two BMPCC connectors in and out for the composite AV input, or for the composite signal. And here we have HDMI in, HDMI out, and I also want to mention this here. There is also a 10 or 15 buck cheaper edition available. I paid for this one 220 or 230 euros to be precise, including VAT and shipment. And there is also a 10-15 buck cheaper model available without HDMI, but I highly recommend to get this one because 10 bucks are not that much, or isn't that much, and you also get the option to loop through your HDMI signal to a second screen. Here we have the mounting points. I think this here is for battery anomaly, and this here, I don't know. You can use it also as a mounting point, for example, with the articulating arm, if you don't have the space around the screen. So, or you can also use this here if you mount the battery plate elsewhere on your rig, which I recommend and which I will show you in a few seconds. So also quite nice. But very nice, and I love the screen for this. It's equipped with a 2.5 DC plug and the XLR plug. And the nice feature is that I will show you this also in a few seconds. There is an AC to DC Xlr adapter included. So not only the case is very rugged, also the DC connection for the AC adapter is very, very rugged. Although the cable is a little bit short, it's really built like a tank, the whole unit. And the nice feature is that it's not 12 to 24 volts, or you don't need 12 to 24. It's also working with 7 to up to 24 volts, because otherwise the external battery wouldn't work, by the way. It's only there's only printed the 12 to 24 volts, which is wrong. It's even working below 7 volts. I think I had once a nearly empty NPF 970 battery at 6.8 or 6.6 volts, and it still worked. So it's a very, very wide range of input voltage is possible. Even you can even go with 13.8 volts in here without a DC to DC converter for your V-mount batteries, for example. Very, very nice. Okay, but before I'm talking too much, let's continue with the accessories. And this one I also recommend, and this one, with this one I want to start. It's not included with accessories, but it's a right angle adapter for the HDMI, which I highly recommend, because you can put it here, for example, and use then the included cable. At least I got a cable with it, mini to a normal standard HDMI, and then your cable isn't going to the back, and you need to route it back to the body at the side. No, it's going then to this side here. And as soon as you're using, for example, such a 2.5 cable and not the XLR cable here, it's way better, especially if you need, especially because you need the signal at the body at the side. So I highly recommend to get this adapter. As you can see here, it looks here this way, and here that way. Okay, but let's continue with the accessories which are here, and I need to move the camera a little bit. Okay, as already mentioned, there's a cable included, not that long, but yeah, it's nice to have one. There's also a ball head included, where you can change the cold shoe, hot shoe, whatever mount here to a 1-to-1 1/4-inch screw. I don't know if you can see this. As you can see here, you can screw this in here, and then you have a 1/4-inch pin, and so you can also use this ball head, for example, on your rig if you have anywhere a 1/4-inch 20 thread. Yeah, you can mount it there. Also quite nice. By the way, for example, you can also use this for other accessories like a battery plate, like an external audio recorder. Okay. There's also description included. Forget it, there is not much in there. Just watch this video and you will know enough about the screen. There are also 4 4 screws included. 3 are for the sunshade, I will show you now, and also one for the battery adapter. You can see here, which is also included. By the way, you have the option, I think, to choose in between a few battery adapters. I highly recommend to get the NPF battery adapter, because NPF 970 batteries are working like a charm. They're working for hours, even if you're powering your whole rig with them. And yeah, because the battery plate is also perfectly fitting the monitor, I will show you in a few seconds, I highly recommend to get the NPF battery plate. But there is also the option for LPE6 and for other batteries. I don't know if there are also the QM91D or so from Sony, and also a third one, I think, from Nikon. Okay, but let's get to the sunshade. And the very nice point about the sunshade is that it's out of textile, or it's a cloth type sunshade. So there's absolutely no risk to break anything, which is always a risk with hot plastic sunshades, which are the case with many other screens. Very nice. Also, the mounting is very easy. You just screw here, or you just mount the sunshade here, here, and here with the 3 screws, and then yeah, you have it mounted, and it's really working like a charm, and it's very, very nice and flexible. You can also use just the side screws, by the way, on the left and on the right, and it's also enough, and you can even adjust the sunshade to the front or to the back a little bit. So really simple solution, and really nice solution. Yeah, the 4th screw is included for the battery plate, as already mentioned. And here you can mount it, for example, at this point here. yeah, here. But I don't like this solution because, and I'm not a fan of battery plates directly on monitors at all, because the monitors are getting too heavy, especially with bigger batteries or longer lasting batteries, let's say it that way. And the problem here is, okay, it's a little bit flimsy. Okay, normally you now plug in, for example, this DC cable here, but yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, funky in this constellation, and I don't like the solution because it's also not evenly mounted, and I always think that, I have always doubts that it's falling off. So yeah, I highly recommend to mount this battery adapter anywhere else. Also because you easily have, or there is the option to mount, for example, here with this is a 1/4 inch 20 mount or thread, where you can mount, for example, a 15mm rod holder, and then you can easily use this battery holder for your whole rig, not only for the monitor, for example, also for your camera and so on. You just need a longer DC cable, and the nice point about this DC cables is that it's a standard 2.5 millimeter DC cable, which you can get in every or nearly every radio store. So just go with this plate, for example, to the radio store and get a longer cable, and you're ready to go. Let's get to the last part, the AC to DC adapter. It's an international model, 50-60 Hz, 110 to 240 volts, so really usable everywhere. Although also be aware that there are also different plugs so you really get the right plug for your country. The only problem, and I mentioned it already, is that the cable is a little bit short. It's only 80 centimeters long, or up to 90 centimeters, including the plug. So be aware that you need a longer cable to plug in this adapter. So AC to AC cable. And yeah, although it's all in all not that of a problem to make this cable here longer. So if you're a little bit skilled with electronics, I think you can also make it longer. But to say it again, very nice is the XLR lock, because it's really rugged and also built like a tank. And so there's absolutely no risk that, for example, like with 2.5 DC adapters or DC cables, that the cable is falling out or so. Okay. Yeah, that's it more or less according to the monitor and the accessories. I will show you now within the second part the software features. Yeah, so let's begin with the second part. Well, okay, so let's start with the second part of this review, in which I want to show you the panel characteristics a little bit more in detail. I also want to show you, for example, my personal calibration for this screen, which I'm using actually, and which is more or less quite okay. And or at the end, let's say it that way, I also want to show you the software features, which are really unique for a monitor in this price range. Yeah, so stay tuned. But let's start with the screen itself. By the way, I also want to mention that I misfocused the lens a little bit, and I made this because otherwise my GH2 otherwise it's producing very pronounced moire problems. And so don't think that the screen is too unsharp. It's only because I had to realign the lens or refocus a little bit. But let's continue. As already mentioned, it's a 16:10 screen with 1280 by 800 resolution with a TN panel technology. And I think, and I'm nearly sure that it's a TN panel, because there is no red glimmering or red hue as soon as you're looking from the side at the screen. Although the viewing angles are quite good, I have to say, for a TN screen. And I also think it's a TN panel because the extreme bright and the extreme dark areas are a little bit washed out, although I tried to compensate that fact a little bit with my calibration profile, which I want to show you in a few seconds or minutes. I also think that it's a TN panel because it has a little bit of ghosting, and it's not an input lag because the input lag is more than okay for a normal standard LCD screen. Only, especially at the startup, it's sometimes it's visible For example, if you have, for example, a black wire in front of a white wall, then there you see a little bit of ghosting. But yeah, that's a problem with many screens and not only with this one. And it's getting better as soon as it's powered up a few minutes. And don't forget, as soon as you plug in the AC adapter, or as soon as you plug in the battery, it's switched on, and you can switch it on and off the LCD screen. Only the panel you're switching off very fast, which is very nice, by the way. Yeah, backlight wise, I also have to say that this screen is very good because, for example, I also reviewed the Lilliput 663/0 and indirectly also the 664, where I had very pronounced backlight bleeding here and here. But here with this screen, it's not a case, which is very nice because, especially with cheaper screens, it's very often a problem. It's only a little bit in the edges here, and all 4 edges are the same. So I also don't show any picture of it because it's really not that bad. Yeah, and that's it more or less according to the screen. It's also a little bit offset colors wise, so don't think that you get 100% accurate colors. I think I already mentioned it within the first part, although I tried to calibrate it a little bit in the right way. Although, by the way, I also want to mention that my calibration is only made through SMPTE charts and my only preferences. So yeah, I didn't use a colorimeter, or I'm also not a colorist or so. So yeah, don't think that this profile will be 100% accurate. Although I also want to mention that I will always add the perfect profile or my actual profile in the description. So also check out the description from time to time maybe, or if this video is, for example, a little bit older. Okay, so this is according to the screen, but let's get to the menu. And as you can see here, first there is only one option to go through the menu, and this is this menu button. As you can see, there is no option to go back upwards. But if you want to start on top, you can press exit and menu again, for example, or you can go through the whole menu and then you also jump to the top again. And I will realign the picture a little bit so you can see the menu. Let's start on top. As you can see here, we have backlight, contrast, brightness, chroma, sharpness, tint, color temperature for the calibration of the image. And then we also have languages. There is only English and Chinese. OSD duration is for how long you want to see the menu. I have it at the max, so yeah, the menu isn't vanishing by itself. Then we have the function, where you can freely assign the function button here. And we also have, and this is very nice and unique, you also have the option to assign 6 picture profiles. So for example, you can also adjust, for example, one for indoor shots, one for outdoor shots, one for cameras where you maybe know that they are maybe too green, for example, like with a GH2 or so. Maybe, although it's not the perfect way to make it, because normally you should calibrate it in camera, so it's not outputting to green images. But yeah, well, you have the option here, and this is very nice because you can, for example, also assign it here to this button here, so you can switch through, or you can also switch here through the pictures, the picture profiles. One thing I wanted to mention, the backlight isn't adjustable to the picture profile. So the backlight you need always to readjust by yourself. So the rest is changing, but we picture profile, not the picture profile, the backlight value isn't changing. Then you also have the volume for the headphone out and for the internal speaker, which are normally set to 0 because yeah, I don't use the audio monitoring. And there is also a restore factory default, which is quite nice because you can really change everything. Even the color temperature values are changeable, and you can also, and this is quite nice, it seems to be possible to software upgrade this unit through the USB port, which is at the back you saw within the first part. So I don't know if it's really possible by yourself, but there is a menu point here, which wasn't the case, by the way, also with the first generation. So this is also new with this firmware, and yeah, I think it should be possible over the USB port. So quite nice and unique. yeah, let's start on top again according the calibration. As you can see, I have the backlight at 80, and I have it at 80 because yeah, the backlight values are a little bit unique. From 80 up to 100 you get the full brightness, and I can show you this, for example. So no change in brightness, and let's go back to 80. No change in brightness, and as soon as you go to 79, for example, there is the first step in brightness, and then it's going onwards in 5-point steps. So the next one is at 74, the next one is at 69, the next one at 64. But I don't recommend, by the way, to go below 70 or to go below the third brightness step, because this LED backlight is using a pulsation frequency which is getting too low. At least I'm seeing it flickering as soon as I go to the fourth step, so to 69, for example, and especially indoors it's very annoying. And so just I just recommend to use before or the first 3 steps, let's say it that way. But I normally use the full brightness, and if I'm shooting indoors I normally switch back, for example, to 79, and so I'm getting a little bit better black levels. The contrasts are adjusted from the 50 value, which is the standard, to 48, because otherwise the very bright areas, yeah, they seemed a little bit washed out, and at 48 it's a good middle way in between too less contrast and too high contrast, and yeah, so it's also matching. For example, we output of, or it matched way better the output of my GH2. Because otherwise sometimes it's looking too bright, sometimes it's also looking too dark. That's also the point where I adjusted the brightness to 54 instead of 50. And with this settings, contrast 48 and brightness 54, yeah, you don't think that your picture is overexposed or it's underexposed. And so yeah, it's kind of a middle way. The brightness at 54 is a little bit tricky, because you're also losing a lot of black levels. And the dark areas are getting more gray-like, but 54 is really the best middle way, I found out. And although the SMPTE calibration, by the way, showed that I should use a 46, 48 value at the brightness, I like to use the 54 setting, because otherwise, yeah, as mentioned, you think you're underexposed, although it's not the case. The chroma I let at 50 because I adjusted the colors over the color temperature feature. And yeah, you can play around with it, although yeah, you maybe can go to 48, 46 with the values I will show you within the color temperature. The sharpness is quite important, because the standard value is at 0, and I found out that the standard picture was a little bit too soft for me personally. So I adjusted it first to 20, that was too high, and from 16 downwards you get a 1-to-1 accurate picture. Because at 15, 16 upwards, yeah, the picture starts to produce double edges. Although you only see it, for example, if you're plugging this monitor onto a computer, for example, and at the text you're maybe seeing it. But 14, I think, is the best middle way, and it's the highest value I would recommend to get a not over-sharpened image, although it's only slightly over-sharpened then. The tint, by the way, you can adjust to 48 or 46. This value I got with the SMPTE charts. Yeah, I use 48 instead of 50, the standard, because it's again the middle way. Color temperature, and this is quite unique. You can assign, yeah, there are a few profiles, standard profiles, user 5600, 6500, 7300, 9600, but you can always change each value, and these changes are saved, by the way, which is quite nice, because, for example, you can freely assign, for example, to one picture profile with, for example, I'm using actually the 7300K profile, and for the next one you can use the 9600, and for the third one you can use the user profile, and each profile is freely adjustable. By the way, my actual colors are red 160, green 140, blue 150. And these values, I tested it out for a few hours nearly to find the perfect profile and also to find the other values. And I found out that the green is way too oversaturated, and I think this is the case because it's using LED backlight, and many LED backlights are outputting too much green. It's maybe missing, sometimes it seems like there is a little bit too less green now in the picture, but yeah, the rest is looking way more natural, and it's looking way more comparable to the image output I get from my GH2, for example. And so yeah, this is my actual personal calibration. So if you have better values, all in all better values, just post it in the comments, and I'm happy to add a comment, for example, in this video, or to put it in the description of this video. Okay, but there is one important point if you want to adjust your screen with SMPTE charts. For example, there is the option to use the blue gun mode. You can assign to the function button, but the problem is, and I'm not doing this now because I don't want to readjust everything again, the problem is as soon as you're activating the blue gun mode for the calibration with SMPTE charts, this is the mode you need for the SMPTE chart calibration, by the way, it's completely resetting the color temperature values because they're using, it seems like they're using the color temperature for outputting only the blue channel. And as soon as you're resetting to the normal image, it's always resetting to the first value. So for example, my 160, 140, 150 would be 160, 160, 160. So be aware of that, and you always need to readjust the color temperature values as soon as you deactivate the blue mode again. Also quite important is, this is the only software issue I found with and it's only according to blue gun mode. As soon as you deactivate it, it's also not reading out your actual values. So you, for example, need to go up here, for example, with the contrast, reset it to 49, 48, and you will get the actual image again. Because otherwise you're getting the standard value image, the standard value colored image. But this is the only issue I found, and this you should know if you want to calibrate with SMPTE charts. Okay, but let's get to the functions. As already mentioned, this is the blue. There is the blue gun mode with only blue output. I don't want to use now. The picture mode is okay. This I don't need to show you. This is only the picture profile mode. Yeah, you can switch through, but I don't use it, or I don't recommend to use this on the function button because you can easily switch here in between the user profiles, and otherwise you're always going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again to 1 with the function button, which is also not usable, I think. And as you see, I need to go in there again to get to the function, because I only can go downwards. Then we have a freeze, image freeze mode, which is working like a charm, I have to say. We have the corner. With the corners, you can enable a HV delay or both, as you can see. And although I didn't need it till now, it's also in there. The scale mode, yeah, this is, for example, for the pixel-to-pixel mode. By the way, the scale modes are a little bit different to this button here, which is only switching in between the aspect ratios. As you can see, first you get the point-to-point or the pixel-to-pixel mode with the scale function assigned. Then you get the 4:3, the auto mode, which is stretching the image, and then the 16:9 again. But there is a trick to get back to the 16:9 mode very fast. Just get into the pixel-to-pixel mode and then press again the left button here, and you're again back at 16:9. Once again, pixel-to-pixel mode, 16:9 mode, or normal standard mode. So this is very useful, this trick, if you're using a 16:9 output image. Okay, this was the scale mode, and by the way, the scale mode is my standard mode because the focus button is always assigned, or the focus assist feature is always assigned to this button here, and so I can freely assign the function button, for example, to the pixel-to-pixel mode, which is very useful. Display mode is only showing you in this corner here the actual input signal. Microcolor is quite funny, and I want to readjust, or I need to readjust the image a little bit to this flower here. Microcolor is a little bit funky because I didn't saw this feature anywhere else, and it's quite helpful, by the way, because, and let's activate it. Ta-da! As you can see, it's pushing the dark areas, And this is really, really nice if you're shooting a very dark scene and you need to see more of your scene, for example, to pull the focus. And this is very, very nice. Let's deactivate it. As you can see, yeah, you don't see that much, especially in the dark areas. Et voila. Very nice, and I think it's a very helpful feature because you can also combine this, for example, with the focus assist feature I activated now. And by the way, I can also show you the focus assist feature with activated micro colors, and you can see now, for example, the focus assist is now activated. And as you can see here, the outlines are very, very nice, and even if you're deactivating the micro colors, it's way easier, especially also in the darker areas, for example, to see where your focus is actually. But I can also show you this, for example, with these toys here, because the nice feature is with the focus assist feature, as you can see here, especially, for example, or you can see here, it's way easier to see the focus plane, and it's even possible to see the textile here, as you can see, and extremely you're seeing it here. And this is really, really nice because it's nearly comparable to the SmallHD focus assist feature. Although the SmallHD focus assist feature is kind of a combination of a standard peaking and this over sharpening filter, I think. And yeah, it's even possible to focus on textile, which is very, very nice, and which is not possible with many screens and with other standard peaking features. But yeah, microcolor, as already mentioned, very nice, also for dark areas. There is also exposure mode. Okay, then let's get to the next feature. Yeah, the focus feature you can also assign to the function button, but I don't recommend it because you can always use this button here. And you also get a black and white mode. Yeah, if you really need it. I don't think that it's that you really need it, because the black and white mode only makes sense if you are using the standard peaking with the red outlines, for example. And you also have guides, so for reframing, although there are only these two modes. Okay, I think I showed you everything. Yeah, I'm at blue gun again. Okay, that's it more or less according on this monitor. Yeah, sorry, as always, that this video is again quite long. Yeah. But I always try to show you every aspect of the screen because, yeah, you don't want to be surprised by faults or by a few issues of the parts I review. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you have any information about the calibration, for example, if you have a colorimeter at home and you calibrated your device perfectly, I would be happy to get your profile or just post your profile in the comments. Or send me a private message over the YouTube system. Yeah, subscribe if you like. There will also come other videos, a lot of other videos. At least there are planned a lot of other videos. And yeah, well, that's it. Thanks for watching.